there's a way in which I feel like I actually never made choices. I just sort of flowed along a river. But I was, always pretty oriented to school and academics. I had finished college very young, and I sort of felt like I just need to learn. And I'm going to graduate school just to learn, not because I want to be a professor. It was just a lifelong orientation to using knowledge and using scholarly activity to inform what I'm doing in the world. A very heartbreaking and really sobering point is that if we look at the total carbon budget for the entire globe, some estimates say we don't have any left, which means we've got to think about how can we raise standards of living for poor people in global South countries without using GDP expansion, which is, the typical way that we have lifted people out of poverty. In the past, growth was poverty alleviating, and it also was inequality alleviating, particularly in the first period, what we've sometimes called the golden age of capitalism. It wasn't golden for everybody, but, a much better functioning economy. But, when you start to look after 1980, and that's now, 40 years, growth is associated with extreme inequality. It's associated with immiseration for people. It's not, we got to get rid of this growth centricity. It's not yielding well-being in the way that it once did. And the green growth scenario also is pretending we're still in a world that's been gone for almost 50 years. I think we're just going to have some laws, I do think that there's a behavior change is only going to take you so far with that top 10%. And a big part of the reason why is they're engaged in what I called in my book, The Overspent American, competitive consumption. They're engaged in a really intense struggle of competitive consumption, which is connected also to their earnings. If we want a platform to have a beneficial impact on footprints, we've got to, number one, look at what it's going to do to the market. What's the technology involved? If they'd started out with electric cars, it might have made a massive difference. Then the consumption patterns of the people around us are so key in determining how we experience our consumer levels. So if all the people around you are doing it, it just makes it a lot more easy, pleasurable, and psychologically viable to do it. It's about how we transform lifestyles and the idea that it has to happen in community. There are more and more people who are thinking about these things and really thinking in these ways. Say my path has been more about, reducing footprint over the years, like different things. But, you do one thing and it's actually pretty good. Then you try the next and the next. And there is that kind of momentum that can gather when you start on a path towards living a life that's different from the normative high consumer lifestyle of a lot of Americans.